So with the season concluding on Sunday evening with the Los Angeles Lakers beating the Miami Heat in embarrassing fashion to capture their 17th championship in franchise history, I thought I would come up here over the next couple of weeks and just drop some random videos about teams and players across the NBA. And I thought to myself, I need to talk about how much of a failure the Houston Rockets have been with James Harden, because when you go back about a month ago when the Rockets lost to the Lakers, I just made a video saying that the Rockets are in serious trouble when they went down 3-1, but I didn't really get to give my initial reaction to them actually losing the series and just the overall thoughts on the James Harden era in Houston. So what am I going to do in this video? Well, you guessed it, I'm going to talk about James Harden in Houston and why I believe that era was a failure. But I know a lot of people are going to be thinking that this is just a video about a guy hating on James Harden. I'm just another James Harden hater, right? I hate his play style, I think he's soft. No, that is not what this video is going to be about, because when you look at the era of James Harden in Houston, you cannot blame it on just him. There are multiple parties involved in a lot of the failures that have happened for the Houston Rockets over the last 6 to 7 years. But to fully grasp just how much of a failure this time period has been so far with the Houston Rockets, you have to go back to the beginning, because when James Harden was drafted to the Oklahoma City Thunder with the 3rd overall pick, he would eventually work his way up the ranks in the league to becoming the 6th man of the year for that team as they went to the NBA Finals in 2012. But after a very disappointing performance, OKC decided to part ways with him by trading him to the Houston Rockets in one of the worst decisions in NBA history, as James Harden would go on to become a multiple-time All-NBA performer and a perennial All-Star, as well as leading the league in scoring in 3 separate occasions consecutively and winning an MVP award in 2018, leading the Houston Rockets to the best record in the Western Conference, as well as the entire NBA. And despite only having 1 MVP award, he's consistently been in the discussion for the MVP, at least over the last 5 to 6 years, even finishing top 3 on multiple occasions. But despite Harden being a very talented player, we all know that one man cannot win a championship. You need a very solid and competent roster around you, which the Houston Rockets were able to do on a consistent basis. Sure, they had years where things could have been better, but considering the fact that they never really were in position to get top tier free agents, I'd say they did a good job with building a roster around him by making solid trades and nice decisions in the front office, such as getting players like Patrick Beverley, Clint Capella, Trevor Ariza, and Dwight Howard, who though are far from superstars, they still make up for Harden's lapses on the defensive side of the ball, so they at least knew what they were doing as far as building a team that was able to complement his strengths and weaknesses. But another concept that we all know in basketball, help is not just what's on the court, but it also has to do with the coaching. Because to me, the most overlooked concept in basketball has to be coaching, and you can just see it throughout Harden's tenure in Houston, because during the first 3 years of Harden's tenure in Houston under coach Kevin McHale, Harden was a 25 to 26 point per game scorer who, yes, he did rely on contact occasionally to get calls, and he would take his step back threes, but Harden was not as ball dominant as you see him today under Mike D'Antoni. He would take mid-range jumpers as well and used more moves in his arsenal other than just a step back 3 or taking it to the basket. Harden was way more diverse in his approach to scoring and even actually was more of an off-ball threat, at least way more than he is right now. But you may ask, what happened to Kevin McHale if he was just that good of an offensive coach and he was better for Harden instead of Mike D'Antoni? Well, I'll tell you what happened. Kevin McHale ended up being fired after a mere 11 games in the 2016 season. Now, albeit James Harden and Kevin McHale were at odds and they were 4-7, so in that situation, it's not like I'm blaming the Houston Rockets for getting rid of Kevin McHale and they were just having favoritism. I understand. Harden is the superstar, and this is not football, in where some situations you may pick the coach, but in this situation, man, it really sucked, because it's not like Mike D'Antoni isn't going to bring some success as far as the regular season goes, as let's not forget 2018 is the most successful year that the Houston Rockets have ever had in regular season history, and Harden had career years under Mike D'Antoni, leading the league in assists in 2017, leading the league in scoring 3 straight times, as well as capturing his sole MVP in 2018. But the issue with Mike D'Antoni is that's where all of the fun stops. in the regular season, because in the playoffs, literally as soon as the first round, you can already see the holes starting to form in his game plan. But what will he do? He's not going to make adjustments. They're going to keep shooting threes, and they're going to keep playing the same style that got them there in the first place. And that's why year after year, when James Harden was under Mike D'Antoni, they would consistently be outcoached time after time, whether it was by Popovich in 2017 or by Steve Kerr in 2018 and 2019. Mike D'Antoni is unable or just straight up unwilling to make adjustments to be able to put his team in better positions in the postseason, and that more than anything has been a big factor in James Harden not being able to break free for that championship that he's coveted throughout his entire career, at least over the last 4 seasons. Because let's not forget that Mike D'Antoni has a track record of these exact same problems. It goes all the way back to his days in Phoenix, because he had very talented teams during that tenure. Obviously, the main one being Steve Nash, who was a back-to-back MVP winner, as well as his crime-fighting partner, who was a perennial all-star for some time, in Amari Stoudemire. You had other players such as Boris Diaw, Raja Bell, Sean Marion, Joe Johnson. Those teams were very talented, and not only was Mike D'Antoni unable to win a championship with those rosters, but he was even unable to get to the finals. And it became an ongoing issue everywhere that he went: New York, LA, and now obviously in Houston. But I can't put it all on the blame of Mike D'Antoni. You have to look at James Harden. James Harden, as talented as a player he has had multiple opportunities to advance further and just came up short. I mean, hell, the entire reason that he's even in Houston in the first place is because OKC didn't find him worthy of $4 million due to a bad performance in the NBA Finals, coming off of winning the 6th Man of the Year award. And to be honest, I could go on and on about Harden's failures in the playoffs and just break down game by game or series by series even about just how bad he's underperformed in critical moments. But I'm not going to do that, because it's way too easy to just blame James Harden for things that, yeah, he can control, but he could be put in better situations if the front office made better decisions. Because yeah, the Kevin McHale era, a lot of that is on James Harden. I'm not going to lie about that. 2015 was just unacceptable against the Clippers, and you could also look at what happened in 2014. But as far as the Mike D'Antoni era in Houston for James Harden's career, I can't lie. A lot of that is not only on the shoulders of Mike D'Antoni, but it's also on the shoulders of the front office. Because in 2017, after Harden underperformed against the Spurs, I can understand keeping D'Antoni for that. You had a great year, and Harden had a career season, especially as a playmaker leading the league in assists. But then after the collapse in 2018, I can't lie to you, the decision to keep him really puzzled me. Because to lose in the manner that they lost in Game 7 to the Golden State Warriors really showed me all I need to know about Mike D'Antoni. Because if you can't make adjustments and you let it get that drastic to the point that your system is hurting the team in a Game 7 to get you to an NBA Finals that you've never even been in throughout your entire career as a coach, I think that's more than enough evidence that he's not the guy for you. But they ran it back in 2019, this time without Trevor Ariza, as Chris Paul didn't want to sacrifice any money on his contract. And just like the year prior, they would lose yet again to the Golden State Warriors, but this time without Kevin Durant for Game 6 and the ending of Game 5. And to be fair to Mike D'Antoni, I know the Golden State Warriors are the Golden State Warriors, but if I'm the Houston Rockets owner or GM, if I hear my coach saying this after losing Game 7 to the Golden State Warriors.
You've influenced the NBA to shoot more three-pointers, but you also have not yet coached in the NBA Finals. Does a game like this make you lose some confidence in relying on three-point shooting?
No, because the other team's doing it. It would be different if they were. No, not at all. No, that's what you do. That's where the game's going. Now, I lost confidence that, we should have made some more, but hey, no, I don't lose confidence that. I don't even. No, we got the right formula. It's got to execute it. We got to do a little bit better, and be nice if they would help out a little bit, but it seems like they're not. So we'll get better.
Then I am absolutely firing him on the spot. because to have that mentality that you're not going to change what you're going to do just because the other team is doing it, that just sounds damn near childish, stupid, and just flat out insane. Mike D'Antoni is the definition of insanity because no matter what, he will keep trying the same thing and expect a different result. And this is where I say you can't blame James Harden, because instead of the front office realizing what Mike D'Antoni was, not just after 2018 or 2019, they decided to give it one more go. And instead they got Russell Westbrook? Okay, so let me get this straight. Russell Westbrook who can't space the floor, Russell Westbrook who is a turnover machine, Russell Westbrook who gets exposed damn near every single year in the postseason for terrible play, and oh, by the way, PJ Tucker is going to be playing the 5. And I, like many others, were very skeptical, but we did give it a chance because it had boom or bust potential. And well, very quickly we found out which one it was.
Bad call, there's the basketball gods at work, Mark. Houston gets it back.
But again, Russell Westbrook should think this is not going to happen.
And he drills the 3. And he's talking to anyone that wants to listen. Little shake and bake sound. LeBron punch on Westbrook on LeBron. LeBron.
He's going to come back in, and Austin Rivers.
And someone in the Laker group is talking to Russell Westbrook and waving goodbye to him.
The facts are the James Harden era in Houston is beyond a failure. And I know some people may be saying it's too early to close the door on the James Harden era, but I firmly believe it's time to just wrap it up. I think that James Harden needs to be traded. If I'm James, I would even demand a trade because it doesn't look like this team has any future, no draft picks, a terrible contract in Russell Westbrook, and they still have no big man because this small ball shit has obviously been an abject failure. So unfortunately for the Rockets and James Harden, it's time for them to part ways. But that's just my opinion. Let me know your opinions in the comment section down below, and I'll try to interact with as many people as I possibly can. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button and push the subscribe button as well as clicking on that bell for post notifications. Also, do not forget to follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. My social media links are in the description box down below. Y'all stay safe and have a great day. This is your boy Young Mustard signing out. Peace.